In the midst of a muddled, slow, contradictory federal response, state and local officials are in the lead. No one so much as the governor of the state of Washington, which thus far is the state on the front line more than any other. Joining us now for the interview is Washington State's Governor Jay Inslee. Governor Inslee, thank you so much for making time. I know you're very busy and not doing a lot of national press. I appreciate you being here.
You bet.
So let me just ask you for your overview in terms of how things are in the state, and let me ask you about the resources that you perceive the state as needing that you don't have right now.
Well, I'm going to start what we do have, which is a very united state that understands the seriousness of this. Obviously, we've lost 22 of our citizens already. And I think one of the virtues or strengths we bring is as a recognition of science. We listen to, believe in, and follow science in our state. And now people are really united in all being leaders. It's one of the things I've stressed in this, that all of us can be leaders in following good decision-making, of not going to work when we're ill, of washing our hands, of caring for our people who are most susceptible to this, which are those of a certain age and people with compromised physical conditions. And people are making those really wise individual decisions. So that's going well. We are increasing our capacity for some of the medical things we need, both in testing for the virus and in stocking up for the surge capacity we will need in our hospital system. And all of these are wise decisions. You might think in some sense these are relatively small numbers in a nation of hundreds of millions. The problem is that we really need to, as leaders, make decisions looking forward to where this is going rather than what it is today. We might have 1,000 people infected today in Washington, but this doubles every week in an epidemic like this. And so 7 weeks from now, we might have 60,000 people plus infected. So the decisions we're making today, I think, are good ones, and building up the stock of stockpile we need. We are getting some assistance from the federal government. We appreciate that. We've made some orders for stockpiles. They are coming in. But over time, all of us are going to have to expand our capacity to fight this virus.
Tell me about that surge capacity idea in terms of hospital beds, in terms of intensive care resources. We'd seen initial references to that when that sort of dramatic decision was made in King County to purchase a hotel for the use of people who need to be isolated, but don't necessarily need to be hospitalized. Local officials saying bluntly, we need to preserve hospital capacity for what we expect to be a real demand in the future. How do you plan for that? How much flexibility is there to upscale or to upsize the number of beds, the number of ventilators, the number of ICU beds that you might need?
Well, the good news is we've been planning for this for some time in the recognition that this is probably going to be needed. And there's easier and harder resources to acquire. The easier ones are providing isolation opportunities. That was the hotel that was purchased in Kent, Washington. We're doing that in the state, where we've essentially provided RVs in a former youth justice facility, so we can isolate people in safe quarters while they have to go through an isolation period. I think we're going to handle that with not too much difficulty. The difficulty issue in the surge capacity for hospitals, and that's where having the personnel that we need, we have planning to do that. We've identified and located the extra beds that may be available, but we're going to have to make some hard decisions. I'll just share one with you. We need to free up capacity in our medical system to really prioritize the people who will have severe respiratory problems because of this. We may need to look at things like postponing elective surgery, for instance. We've not made this decision to do it, but all of us are going to have to make priority decisions of what really counts to save people's lives here. We know we can do it, but we got to buckle down on making those priority decisions. But we do have a good plan, and I believe we're going to get through this.